Howdy howdy, my name is John and this video is my August 2021 wrap-up. The first book I finished this month was A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I also listened to this one on audio as I read along in the book. This book is very description heavy, and unfortunately for me the story kind of gets lost in all of the description that's contained in the book. Listening to the audio really did help me out because I was able to hear it, I could understand just how beautiful the language that's used in this book is. But as I noted, I'm not really that type of a reader, so in the end I wound up giving this one 3 stars. The next book I finished was Dragons of Winter Night by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. This is the second book in the Dragonlance Chronicles. The book I'm holding up is an annotated version of all 3 books in the series. I've already done a dedicated review for this book, and I'll link it in the description below. I had some issues with it, and I wound up giving it 3 stars. I participated in a live discussion with several other booktubers about this book. The host was Pondering of Pete. Also participating were Andrew's Wizardly Reads, Nico's Book Review, She Was Only Evie, and Beth Ann Bruning of Sokolar. I had a lot of fun discussing this book with the other people. I'll link the video in the description below, as well as all of their channels. Next, I want to talk about not a book, but a Netflix TV show called Katla. I've done a spoiler-free review for the show, and I hosted a live discussion with Steve Talks About Books and Stuff, Stacey's All Booked, and Jeff Lane, and I'll link that in the description below. I gave the TV series 4 stars. The next book I finished was The Mirror's Truth by Michael R. Fletcher. This book was part of a buddy read, and we had a live discussion that was hosted by Jolene Reeds. Also participating were Steve Talk About Books and Stuff, Stacey's All Booked, and we also had the author Michael R. Fletcher join us for the discussion. This book is very dark, and it really kind of exceeded what I'm comfortable reading about. The very beginning of this book is very slow, and it's very character-driven. I'm not really the most character-driven reader. I did, however, really enjoy the end of this book. I wound up giving this book 3 stars. The next book I finished was Kendermore by Mary Kirchoff. This is the second book in the Dragonlance Preludes series. The Preludes series follows the characters from the Dragonlance Chronicles in the 5 years before those events take place. This book covers Tasselhoff and his journey home. This book is a buddy read with a real-life friend of mine. We read a chapter a day, and then we talk about that chapter during the day. This book was a lot of fun to read. There's actually a character in this book that actually steals the show from Tasselhoff, in my opinion, who is the perennial scene stealer in the Chronicles and the other Dragonlance books that he shows up in. I gave this book 5 stars. Next, I read a portion of the landmark Julius Caesar. This is a read-along sponsored by David Wiley, and also joining us is Tony from An Erudite Adventure. This month, we read the first 4 books of the Gallic War. I'm really impressed with the landmark edition. It had a really great introduction, it has very good footnotes, and it has very good maps and other illustrations. Julius Caesar is one of those figures of history that I didn't really know a whole lot about, just kind of the general information. And it's been really interesting to get a deeper look into his life and military campaigns. The schedule for this is that we will read the second half of the Gallic War in September, we'll read the Civil War in October, and then I will probably read the other 3 books in this collection in November. Because this book is in progress, I don't have a star rating for it yet, but it looks like it's going to be a 5-star read for me. The next book I finished was Bleak Seasons by Glen. This is the 7th book in the Black Company series, and it's the first book of the Glittering Stone arc of this series. This book is part of a read-along sponsored by Slowly Read. I did enjoy this book, but it's not my favorite of the series. I gave this book 3 stars. This book contains both Bleak seasons and She is the Darkness. She is the Darkness I am planning to read in September, and I'll probably do a review for both of the books that are in this edition. The last book I finished in August was Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. I first learned about this book on the channel Literary Lives of Sarah, and I'll link the video that she talks about this book in the description below. She did a video on various dystopians that she enjoyed. This book is a buddy read with Margaret Pinard. Margaret did not manage to finish the book in August because she went and got herself addicted to A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I'm not going to say too much about this book right here because I'm probably going to do a spoiler-free review, and Margaret and I are planning on doing a live discussion. I did give this book 3 stars. I did have some issues with it, but I did find it overall to be an interesting read. Overall, it turned out to be a fairly average reading month for me. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of